So we'll start down here and talk about the breeding nursery a little bit. And so this is kind of the middle of the whole process in the variety development program. So every variety that you're growing on your farm started off as one plant, a single genotype from a breeder's nursery, whether it was Pioneer in Indiana or Blacksburg, Virginia, or Mason, Michigan. That variety started as one plant. So that one plant that shows potential, we take and we grow it out in these hedgerow. This is referred to as a hedgerow nursery because this was a single head from one plant planted out into a row. And so you can see there's some family structure here, and but they're very different. You know, just like your children, you know, they look similar. You can always tell, you know, families that look alike, but there are differences. So that's what we're looking for, is the differences among these varieties. For specific traits. What we're looking for is something that has a very short plant stature. Earlier this morning you heard about the dramatic, almost dramatic effects of planting date, moisture availability, and fertilizer applications. So there's a dramatic effect of those treatments on specific varieties. Now, there's just as much variation as there is for those treatments, there is that much variation among the varieties. So, and that's just one variety, you know. So my point is, all these varieties will respond differently to different practices, and so we're trying to predict the best ones out here. So these same lines that we see, these are all potential wheat varieties. There's 2,400 different potential varieties out here, and you can see the differences in on versus onless, differences in plant height, in stature. A good plant height is a short plant height. I know a lot of wheat growers, they're interested in straw, you know, and so if there's adequate moisture and there's a great deal of nitrogen applied, you will get good height expression. But that plant has to be able to support all of that. If a plant that's converting all of that plant food, all of that available nutrition into height and then into yield, if that plant has too much height under it, then gravity will take effect, and you'll see some lodging. So that's one trait that we're looking at when we're trying to improve varieties, and you can see that evolution among varieties that were planted in the 60s and 70s compared to more contemporary varieties. You know, namely Jupiter has very short plant height. Pioneer 25R40 is a very short plant. So that's important in the variety selection process, because we provide a great deal of data on potential varieties from our breeding program and different genotypes that are tested in Michigan. And so the decision on which variety to plant rests ultimately on the grower. And we do our best to provide you with all the information that you would need to make those selections in your specific county. That's a specific geography, specific soil type, specific moisture, and no one knows your farms better than you do. And so and you are the best people to make those decisions on which varieties are best for your farm. So so that's part of the selection process. We're gonna move down the path here a little bit. So if you guys see anything you like, Andrew Wiersma is a PhD student in the program here, and he has data on the pedigree and flowering date on all these lines out here. So if you see anything that you like, don't hesitate to ask. So you'll also notice a great deal of variation in winter kill out here. We had a great year for winter hardiness selection. And that doesn't happen but once, maybe in a decade. So anything that's being advanced in the breeding program will have exceptional winter hardiness after this year.